thought to himself. I'll just dig a little farther to the side and try again. This little maze of mine must be bigger than I thought. Days went by, and then months, but Earl had no luck in getting beyond the limits of the maze. He did everything he could to figure out a path to liberation, but no matter which direction he had dug, and no matter how long a tunnel he created, he always came up against the floor of the maze. Ultimately, he was so desperate to be free, he wondered if what appeared to be the floor of the maze was actually the floor of the world outside of the maze, and managed to pickaxe his way through. Sadly, again and again, he always found himself inside the same maze he was trying to escape. At the end of each day of relentless digging, he had to eventually resign himself to crawling back out of the tunnel the same way he got in, finding himself right where he started, inside the maze. Earl was so committed to this approach to self-emancipation that he probably would have died in this endeavor, either from exhaustion or old age. Fortunately, that's when Earl met Napoleon. Chapter 2. I'm Napoleon. One evening, after a long day of strenuous tunneling that once again led nowhere, Earl emerged back into the maze, tired, covered in dirt, and famished. But this night was a night like no other. This night was different, because on this night, an elderly mouse with thinning gray hair and wire-rimmed glasses was sitting quietly next to the hole in the floor where Earl emerged. Earl was a bit startled to find another mouse in his corner of the maze. He brushed himself off, hoping to look a bit more presentable in front of his unexpected visitor. The elderly mouse introduced himself quietly and confidently with the simple statement, "I'm Napoleon." At first, Earl had to fight back the urge to chuckle and say, "Nice to make your acquaintance. I'm Cyrus the Great." Fortunately, he was able to resist the temptation to be humorous, and after a brief pause, he responded, "Pleased to meet you, Napoleon. My name is Earl." At that moment, there was no way for Earl to know that this unexpected encounter would change his life forever. Chapter 3. A New Direction. "May I ask you a question, Earl?" Napoleon queried. "Of course," said the younger mouse. "What were you doing down in that hole?" "I was trying to get out. I was trying to escape from the maze," Earl replied. "I see," said Napoleon. "Why would you want to do that?" "To find freedom," Earl responded confidently. "To find freedom and happiness, and to forget about cheese." "Are you unhappy?" asked Napoleon with concern in his voice. "Well," said Earl, "I'm not sure how to describe the way I feel. I do know one thing, though. I'm definitely not satisfied with this life in this maze. I feel like there's no chance of living a good life in here. I think that if I could just get out of here, everything would be better." "Really?" asked Napoleon. "Where did you get the idea that a panacea exists outside the maze?" "I'd like you to consider one thing, Earl. Consider that happiness and satisfaction are not the same thing. You should always be happy, but never satisfied. Dissatisfaction is a creative state. As long as you are somewhat dissatisfied with one aspect or another of your life, you will always be motivated to make it better. The key is to remain happy throughout that process. It's a wonderful process once you fully understand it and embrace it. If we were always satisfied, there would be no incentive for us to do what is necessary to improve ourselves. There would be no reason to grow.